A number of years ago, on a Friday night, I was walking in the street when suddenly I heard a rustling. I looked over, and I can't say that I jumped. I can't say I ran. I just suddenly found myself in the middle of the street. It was almost like I was transported. What had happened was I had turned when I heard the rustling in the bushes, and I saw a big, fat street rat. Again, I didn't jump. I didn't run. I just suddenly found myself in the middle of the street. That's an example of what we know as the flight or fight syndrome in man. The human body is conditioned that when there's an alarm that rings, when there's danger, the body goes into overdrive, and instantly many systems are put into practice that allows the human body to do that which it wouldn't do under normal conditions. But if you actually study how these systems interact, you might find something very amazing. You see, when my head turned and I glanced, I saw something, but I didn't really know what it was. And if you study vision, it's actually quite a complex process. You see, the light is brought into the eye, focused by the lens, and brought to the back of the eye to the retina. The retina then translates that light into electrical impulses, and that signal is sent into the brain. The first place that signal goes from the eye is the visual cortex. That's the part of the brain that interprets what was seen. And the visual cortex gets a sort of message that's something like this. What is it? I don't know. It's furry. It's got a tail. It's got legs. What is it? We don't know. What the visual cortex then does is sends a message to another part of the brain, the associative part of the brain, to look at previous pictures of things like it. And the associative part of the brain contains all of the pictures of different things I had seen during my life. And that part of the brain begins processing, looking for different similar pictures. Well, let's see. What do we see? Oh, look at that. Mickey Mouse. He has legs and a tail. No, but he's not furry. Can't be that. Let's try the next. Oh, look at that. Look at that cute bunny, right? He's furry and got 4 legs. Yeah, but a very different tail. Not that. It's this. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's it. But what is it? The associative part of the brain recognizes the picture, but doesn't know what it is. So it sends back a message that this is what it is, but we don't know how to identify it. A message is sent to another part of the brain, the interpretive language part of the brain, to identify what is that picture. At that point, the message is sent to that part of the brain, and that part of the brain sends a message back. That is a rat. A rat is a scary animal. We may be in trouble, guys. Watch out. But slow down. You see, context is incredibly important. If you see a rat in the zoo, it's not very threatening. You're watching a video and a rat appears on the screen, it's not dangerous. Context determines whether I'm in danger or not. So a message is sent to another part of the brain, the contextual part of the brain, to identify where are we, what's the situation, is this dangerous or not? A message comes back, we're no longer in Kansas, Dorothy. This is the street. It's dark. It's night. That's a rat. We're in trouble. Instantly, an alarm is sent from the brain. Messages are sent to various parts of the body. Nerve impulses immediately light up along the spine and awaken the adrenal glands. The adrenal glands secrete a tremendous amount of adrenaline, and the bloodstream is flooded with adrenaline. The body also immediately begins producing more glucose. Glucose is sent out throughout the body to be the energy for the muscular movement. The heart is sent a message to begin pumping more strongly. The lungs are began told to breathe in and breathe out more quickly. The entire body is sent into overdrive. The fight or fight mechanism is put into motion. But here's the point. How long does it take? From the time that I heard the rustling, looked over, and suddenly found myself 15 feet away, wasn't very long. The process is measured in nanoseconds, the smallest slivers of time, because the process happens almost instantly. And clearly the brain, that is the central nervous system that controls all of this, that knows what to do even though I don't understand it, that knows how to do this on automatic pilot, is a wondrous creation. But if you'd like to really understand the brain, I'd like to share with you one observation. Ask a very intelligent third grader the following riddle. Give him a choice. Here's the riddle. If you were given a choice of either $1,000,000 or I'll give you 2 pennies today, and every day for the next 30 days, I'll double those 2 pennies. Ask a bright third grader, which would you choose? Any intelligent third grader would immediately choose the $1,000,000 because 2 pennies, I don't care how many times you multiply it, isn't much money. $1,000,000 is a lot of money. However, our very intelligent third grader would be wrong because 2 to the 30th power is $10 million. You see, exponential math is a feature in creation that functions in a counterintuitive way. When you take 2 and multiply by 2 and multiply by 2 and multiply by 2, it grows so quickly that when it grows exponentially, it becomes a number that's very, very hard to imagine. Well, here's the point. All processing within the human brain happens with communication from neuron to neuron. The brain is made up of very tiny little cells, nerve cells that actually communicate. All communication in the brain is one nerve cell, one neuron, sending a message to the next one, which sends a message to the next one, to the next one, to the next one, kind of like telephone lines. And all communication in the brain is one neuron speaking to the next one, to the next one, to the next one. Now let's imagine for a minute we had one neuron that was surrounded by 30 other neurons. One small little nerve cell amongst 30 others. Here's the point. Each neuron has a couple of axons, a couple of different places it could communicate with. It could speak to this nerve cell or that nerve cell or that one or that one. How does this neuron know to send the message out this axon to this nerve cell? How does that one know to send it to that one, to that one, to that one? If we had 30 neurons in the human brain and each one could communicate to 2 different cells, the amount of possible different pathways would be over 1 billion. But each neuron doesn't just speak to its neighbor. Each nerve cell in the brain can speak up to 5,000 close nearby neurons. And the human brain is not made up of 30 neurons. The human brain is made up of approximately 100 billion nerve cells. That means each neuron, which could speak to 5,000 different ones, and that of those 5,000, that could speak to 5,000. All you have to do is exponentially multiply that number by 100 billion, and you begin to realize that the mathematical possibilities are beyond comprehension. Yet somehow it is that this neuron knows to communicate with this one, sending the message to the visual cortex, over to the associative part, over to the language part, and over to the memory, back and forth to create this entire process. When you begin looking at the human brain, you see the wisdom of our Creator. You see the astonishing complexity, and you get an eye glimpse to the tremendous capacity that our Creator created the world with, and you begin to get an eye glimpse to the greatness of our Creator.